Alright, so now that you guys have had the opportunity to jump into some ladder battles, I'm sure you've seen the wrath of the double Iron Blaster from the Ogre Kingdoms as well as Gorger spam. Well, how do we deal with this? I think we do have an answer, and Grand Cathay is indeed that answer, so let's break it down. Let me introduce you to the humble Cathay Grand Cannon. Costing hundreds of gold less than the Iron Blaster of the Ogre Kingdoms, these things can massively outtrade the Iron Blasters. Let's go ahead and show you. So the Iron Blasters do have less range. They have 380 range against 450, but look at the damage of the Grand Cathay cannons. And this isn't even using the Harmony, which could give you a faster reload rate. You'll notice that when the Iron Blasters do return the favor on my Grand Cannons, they do almost no damage because of the spread of their shot. Whereas my Grand Cathay cannons absolutely give them the business. And this has happened so many times. I've loaded into multiplayer battles, and most Ogre players just get such a hard-on spamming the Iron Blasters and sniping your characters and cheesing your army that they don't necessarily have a good answer here for the Grand Cannons. And as they shoot into the second Iron Blaster, you can see it's going down rather quickly, even while the Ogre Tyrant moves in, ruining my test. But the Iron Blasters get massively outtraded, and these cannons are going to be here for the rest of the game to provide value for you. Now, this doesn't work on every map, but I would say about 4 of the 7 maps this works great on. So the other scourge of multiplayer as it pertains to the Ogres are the Gorgers. These things are just incredibly cost effective. They can tear through elite halberds like it's nobody's business, something which should arguably counter them, but I have a very simple answer for them. And that answer, ladies and gentlemen, is triple gold chevron peasant long spearmen. These bad boys actually trade incredibly well. So these two peasants together cost, I believe, 544 apiece, making that 1088. Gorgers cost 1100, and honestly, I found very few units that can trade cost effectively into Gorgers, or at least at a similar price point. But let's find out if these peasants can. Alright, the Gorgers have piled in. You can see the initial trade is going okay, considering the Peasant Spearmen do cost half as much. Now, also notice if you had better Harmony here, the Peasants would be performing even better. They would hold longer and their melee defense would be stronger. But if we can get an even trade here from these two Peasant Spears, I would call that a huge victory. Because if you bring in 2 Halberds, for example, you're going to be paying 1400. So even if you do manage to beat the Gorgers, you're going to be basically trading, 300 extra gold here. Whereas if we can trade 1088 gold and still beat the Gorgers, I would consider that a big win. And look at that, the Peasants do great. The other ones are going to be coming back in a second. And the Gorgers will indeed be losing these fights to the Peasant Long Spearmen. So really, I think against Ogre Kingdoms, guys, if you're running into Iron Blasters and Gorger spam all day, just get Peasant Long Spearmen with the triple gold chevron to make them more durable. Try and give them yin and yang if you can, and use the Grand Cannons to kill the Iron Blasters, and live long and prosper, baby. Grand Cathay is back in business.